Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Metanet Meetup, hosted by Babbage and their excellent team. I'm going to be your host for today, with assistance from Casey and the Babbage team. We're going to be discussing a variety of things, but today we're going to be focusing a lot on drop blocks, as we have Mort with us today. Hello, Mort.
Mhm.
If you do not have a BSV desktop app yet, you should get one. We're going to post the link on Twitter and share it around in a bit where you can download it. It's very easy for developers to build apps and to upload the apps to the Metanet store, and for everyone else to then see your app and use your app. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna introduce more developer in the space. Oh, there we go. Getmetanet.com. And we're
Hello.
going to talk a bit about Dropbox. And more. Welcome. So Dropbox is, if anyone wants to go and take a look, it is at dropbox.org. You need the Metanet wallet desktop, which it will prompt you to have it. Open your Metanet desktop app and then go to the URL and it will work. Yeah, do you want to give a quick intro about Dropbox?
Okay. Anybody can pull up the website and share the screen, or I could try it. I haven't tried it. I'm trying to figure out this software yet.
Let's just, I think I put up that.
Yeah, that's the preview of what's coming. So, but Dropbox is basically a decentralized file repository on the blockchain. So you can put files up there. You can share files with other people as far as like copying the link and handing it to them. There's going to be direct file sharing coming soon, I think. So as soon as we get some bugs worked out. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can put your files on the. I guess you can go ahead and share that screen or that picture that I had. Yeah, this is what's coming. The shared with me is not part of Dropbox yet, but it will be. So this is what the interface looks like when you upload your files. You can encrypt them. You can share them with a copy of the link. Share them. You can download them again. So I don't know. Is there any specific questions? I mean, if you're familiar with Dropbox, it's very similar to that kind of a file sharing idea. It's just online. It's just with the added benefits of putting things on the blockchain.
Yeah.
I mean, I poked around with it and I put up a file or two of myself and some pictures, and it seems very useful for if you want to keep your files for good. There is like you've got you choose how long your file is going to be up on the platform, isn't it, on Dropbox?
Yes, so you can choose whether to put the files directly on chain or to use UHRP from Babbage. And UHRP is basically a file storage system that's off chain. If I got this right, Ty, and so the fingerprint goes on chain. The file is in UHRP, and then the file storage is then expires after a certain time, which you can renew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, that's one way of doing multimedia storage on chain, and like it's the way that we kind of created as a means to, not have to put every single byte directly on the blockchain itself. When you were talking about the introduction and kind of, similarities to like Dropbox, you mentioned like just the benefits of blockchain and how, this kind of enables that. Maybe, um, maybe you could just touch on motivation, why you thought that you wanted to build this, and what some of those benefits are for those who might not fully understand what we're getting out of this, we aren't getting out of something like just normal Dropbox.
Well, you get with a fingerprint of your file on chain, you have an immutable record of the existence of this file and the ownership of this file at a time in history that you can show anyone if you want to show it to them. It's also decentralized on the chain, so we don't have a service like Dropbox going offline and you lose all your files or something like that. You can still
So
retrieve your.
to ask a question quickly, say like if I had a white paper, say like a Bitcoin white paper, and I wanted to prove that, not to digress, that or anything similar, that hey, I wrote that, I could upload it to Dropbox, and then I've got proof that I uploaded that file at a date and time which is provable, and no one can mess around with that date or time and pretend that I didn't upload it. But from my desktop, I will be able to prove that I uploaded that file.
Correct.
Is the file type limited to anything, or can I upload anything?
You can upload anything as far as I know. I haven't tried everything, but you should be able to upload any kind of file type.
Okay. Because I mean, most people in the Bitcoin space, most people in the crypto space just think, oh, NFTs and blah blah blah. But with this is a people are thinking, oh, they just want to upload pictures. You can use this for so much more. I mean, one of the good uses that pops into my mind is contracts. You can use this to when you have a file sharing service working. I'm assuming a good use might be upload a contract, file share that contract with whoever needs to sign it, and then you can prove that yes, that contract was uploaded at XYZ date. Person can have it shared, and they can share it and whatnot, sign it, and then after they've signed it, they can put it in their own Dropbox and share it back with you, and that way they can prove that they signed it on a certain date and time as well. And that's a nice chain of like proof.
Yes, exactly. You've got a immutable timestamp of your file and when you uploaded it, and that you owned it at that point in time, and you can prove it. And a lot of these, as people start using something like this for things like that, we could actually start, putting in new features around those kinds of things to make it even easier to share those files around and get those timestamps back for provability.
Yeah, you have another one in there, which I was just going to mention. Invoices seem to be like a really good idea for something like this. A lot of times, people pretend they never received an invoice by such and such date or time, but as a business use case, you can say, or just as a sole partner, you can send an invoice with this and say, look, I did send it by that date, so it has been sent, so pay me, basically. Rather than in the past, I've had issues with people pretending that I never said anything to them, and you have places like Slack where people can delete their own messages, and then they just pretend, oh no, we never discussed it, and you're just like, I did discuss it with you. So this seems like quite a good answer to things like proof of documentation. Also, wills. I imagine it would be very good for wills as well.
Even like family photos, like if you want to make sure, if I set a retention period of a long time, or if I uploaded it just directly on chain, that's something, if I want to make sure that my photos are going to last forever because they're historically, they're sentimental, right? Then I think that could be valuable.
I have a question about the file sharing. Might it be possible to one day have a file sharing so that only people with a certain Metanet username can open the file? So just in case people, the link of whatever file gets out there to nowhere, you can have it set only XYZ person or people can open this file.
Totally possible. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be set up that way, where you could like Ty was saying, we could have an encryption key specifically for a group of people, and then encrypt the file with that key, and then only disperse the key to those people, and only those people can those Metanet accounts can download the file.
Just thinking in that case, like for memos in the internal work areas, that would be really useful when you're sending out memos and people pretend that they haven't received a memo. This way you can say,
right.
Well, it's definitely been sent and it's definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have, actually, as a question on monetization, how do you plan to monetize this? How do users fund you?
I was just going to use Babbage Go to just put a flat Satoshi fee on each action that happens in the app, and so it's completely transparent and extremely cheap.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I actually saw the Babbage Go. I'm actually clicking around the UI right now. I don't know if my screen is visible, but I just I've been checking it out. Trying to upload I cut a build for the Android app. I know we're working on getting it on Google Play right now, but I made a build and posted it maybe yesterday or something. And yeah, no, it's I saw the Babbage Go pop up. So yeah, I think it's a cool system, and I would encourage people to check it out. And it's cool that you're monetizing with Babbage Go. It helps you out, obviously, but it also helps us out. And good way to grow the ecosystem. So if it takes off in a big way and we get 1 million people using it, then multiply 1 million users by however many files and however many actions they take and however many Satoshis, and there's a revenue right there.
Yeah, that's the idea. It makes the revenue stream really simple to set up, and it scales with the usage of the platform.
We got some people in the studio here, and the way this Metanet Meetup works, just for those who are watching maybe live, is you can go to metanetmeetup.com if you want to join the discussion and ask questions. And we'll have the studio. Basically, the format is going to be, we'll have an intro, we'll have a little presentation, and we'll have some time for Q&A and maybe some news of the day and open discussion at the end. Every 2 weeks, the first and third Friday of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific. So Mort is, our first little spotlight here, but it looks like there's some people in the studio. Maybe we can up, and if you guys want to join the discussion, obviously, feel free. So, why don't we start with? We could go to John Calhoun if you want to come up. Feel free to. Let's see. Hi, John.
Hey guys.
Hey, John.
Me. Hey, John.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Congrats on, let's see, how's Tool BSV coming along? It's been a little bit. I saw you added VO3 and some cool things like that, but
it's going great, honestly. It's been fun to build and grow with the ecosystem, right? I started building here in April, right, with the first hackathon, and the hurdles that everyone has overcome, and like how easy it is to build now, and how far we've come in the past few months. It's I'm lucky to witness it. To be honest, it's very exciting.
Well, what do you make of this Dropblocks thing? You got any questions for Mort specifically?
I think it's really cool. I think it's a great idea. I've used it a few times. It makes it, like, I think we've all had to transfer a file to someone, and either the email rejects it or stuff like that. So this solves that. Good job.
Do you have any questions about it? Any promotional ideas or suggestions?
How is price calculated? Like, like what's the rate right now? Like how much does it cost to store like a megabyte and for how long? And yeah, that's what I would ask
So
you.
right now, the way it works, first of all, there's just a 100 Satoshi cost to each interaction with the Metanet wallet. Beyond that, all the cost is within the Metanet wallet. So the costs around doing actions through the wallet and doing actions with UHRP, all the costs would be set by the Babbage team.
Excellent. Awesome. It's cool.
Yeah. So on UHRP specifically, the way UHRP works is a storage network. It's like an overlay network for BSV, but it tracks files that have been hosted by people. And so we host a UHRP storage provider, which uses Google Cloud Storage as the backend. But our reputation is tied to a key that says, like whoever, let's see, we commit to host this file with this particular hash at this URL for this duration of time. So we set a price of, I think it's like 3 cents per gigabyte month
Wow.
that we charge, because that's about what Google Cloud charges us to make use of that. But the idea is different people can host files, and people can run their own UHRP storage server. In fact, I also run one called UHRP Lite, and I think the code for that is also public. It doesn't use Google Cloud. It's just a simple Linux box that I have that has some extra disk space, and I can get paid for hosting that because I have a reliable internet connection, and so my reputation should stay high, given that the URLs remain available and the hashes match when people download things. We want to see more people host UHRP storage servers and have some competition on price, and that way, for people who host files with UHRP, obviously we get the integrity benefits of the blockchain, because the transaction on the blockchain contains the hash of the file, and nobody can change the transaction, and nobody can obviously tamper with the file data, otherwise the hash wouldn't match. So the idea being, we have some costs associated with hosting people's files. We just pass those costs on to our users who upload those files to our server. But somebody could even create one that's much cheaper. And we want to support multi-provider uploads in UHRP. I think that's actually an open GitHub issue on the BSV TypeScript SDK currently, to support multi-provider uploads, so that you could upload your file to like 5 people. And that way, even if 4 of them go away, your file's still there. And that's why we think UHRP is powerful. But the current rate, I think, is like 3 cents per gigabyte month on our node. And we're one of the only ones, unfortunately, currently. But it's a business opportunity if you make some money hosting files for people in a reputable way. You uphold your hosting commitments and all of that. UHRP protocol opens that up for people. And maybe we'll have some competition, and we'll have to lower our prices a little bit.
That's very cool. A lot of the features that tool like require image input or video input, and it's, as for me as a developer, it's costly for me to store those files on like my infrastructure. So like it'd be much cheaper for like me to have my users store their files on Dropbox, and then they'd be able to enter their URL as input on tool. So I might look to integrate that there. I think it worked for me because it's cheaper for me and my users and infrastructure as well. So it's cool.
One of the ideas that I had with Dropbox, and I was thinking about this also, and I wonder what you think about it more, is like there's React packages or packages on NPM that are like upload from Google Drive as a component in React, right? Or in some front end thing, and it's like you could just connect your sign in with Google, and then like select your file that you want to upload from Google Drive, and then use it in an app. Also, we have the default, like HTML, just like, choose file and you upload it from your computer. But if Dropbox is an open protocol and the users hold the keys and everything, having some kind of file input form, like a file upload from your Dropbox, folders, like where the ones that you have access to, could be a thing that would be interesting, because you could drop it into any app, and suddenly the tool could maybe upload
That's
their
cool.
files directly from the Dropbox interface.
Absolutely. All of these things are totally possible. And, as use cases come up and demands for them come up, there's no reason why something like that couldn't be implemented. If it's useful and, there's no reason why we can't put those things in. Absolutely. I do know that currently there's a limit to the download size of the files. If you upload something bigger than, I want to say 50 kilobytes, then it might not download correctly because I'm using, I think I'm using just what's on chain to do the downloads. But eventually I want to move that over to an overlay that will actually handle any file size out of UHRP. So I'm going to talk with the Babbage team to get that worked out. So right now, files bigger than 50K, they're not downloadable in the way it exists right now, but it's good for anything smaller.
Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to Binary Labs. It's my understanding they've built some proprietary chunking technology, and I think it uses UHRP. I'm not sure, but maybe reach out to them, and they might be able to help out with some integration on something like that, because they've developed this new little component that is kind of a way to do that in some way, I think, or for one use case they've built for their music stuff, and I think the same type of thing could be done, and they seem to have at least figured out something with that and specialized in that area with chunking, and maybe maybe it could be applied here to allow larger files to be handled.
Is that something that could be added to UHRP library to do file downloads directly with a function call?
My understanding is it would work as a layer on top of UHRP. So like it would use UHRP for the chunks or something internally, but I don't know. I don't want to speak for them too much about what they've built and everything, but it could be something that a discussion to be had in the future.
I'm just thinking from the developer standpoint, just make it a non-thought, right? Like when you're using UHRP, you can upload files, you can download files. You're not concerned about the file sizes, just the cost of the upload and the download.
They could monetize their thing, like they could monetize their chunking layer for every upload or every download or something, and just make tons of money from that kind of thing. I don't know. There's different things out there that people can work on. And like it might not be, just want to, just came to my mind, like, it seems like they've been doing that stuff. Why don't we bring up some other people in the, let's see, we have Christopher, it looks like. And we have, can we add, it says.
Yeah, it looks like Christopher doesn't have a mic or cam connected to the stream, so.
Hodor, do you want to come back up? Let's see. Hello, Hodor.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for letting me join. To be honest, I don't have like the full back brief on the Babbage projects that you guys are talking about, although like files hosting totally makes sense. I guess in general, I'd be curious to ask, like, I have some ideas working. I'm a program manager for a special operations squadron, right? So we have all these kind of cutting edge tactical problems that we work with. And I've been in Fallen BSV I've been talking to Joel for a while now, several years, probably 5 in the Slack group. And then even a little bit before that, Fallen BSV. And interested in the high throughput capabilities. And I think there could be some applications for like Internet of Things devices passing situational awareness to one another, and like obviously in the battle space, communication's an issue. And right now with like Starlink, the internet is one of the more reliable forms of communication. So generally, I guess I would, since I have a group of experts here, be curious, like how long do you think it would be before there's a capability on BSB to build some sort of system that either is like a high user communication system, or like even better would be like a device to device communication system? Because, and I know there's like the debate about whether it should be used for messaging, but you know, as a timestamp server, if you're trying to like correlate a bunch of information, knowing like when it was sent is important, and then the ability to receive messages that are, you know, hashed. And so, and especially with like where one wallet can have 1,000 different addresses, right? You don't burn somebody's location, especially if they're receiving, but you don't have to use the same address over and over again, right? You can go through a series of addresses and kind of obfuscate or hide in plain sight. So those are the primary capabilities that I'm kind of interested in. I worked a little bit with CertaHash on some proof of development stuff, but with the government shutdown, things are on pause right now. So I guess generally, I'd be curious what you guys think about those kinds of applications, and you know what the time frame is before those are feasible to develop.
You want? I'm just thinking as you're talking about it, some kind of Oracle system, a communication, two apps. You know, you've got one in office HQ, one out in the field, and they're using the blockchain as a communication. So they're using a static address which they're sending to. I know some dislike PayMail, but it doesn't have to be PayMail, but something like as an overlay username, which then uses a variable, one of a standard long code address. You know how PayMail works, it, you know, has a variety. I'm thinking Simply Cash here, where you have a username or you know, a unit name, and then the transaction would go to the standard long code and constantly change. But
Yep.
the key point would be that the apps on either side, if they receive or send a message to that transaction, then it will translate to something in the app, you know, like, okay, proceed or stop, or, you know, something. You'd have a series of like 30 or however many commands needed. And if XYZ transaction received a transaction, not just received a transaction, but received it specifically from another address. So you'd have to send a HQ, and it has to be sent from that address to one of these communication addresses, and then the app on the other side would simply watch the blockchain and say, okay, that's received an address, that means it's good to proceed, or that one's received an address and it's, you know, not good to proceed, or you know, a list of commands. But you would know that it was sent by HQ and that XYZ transaction received it. And the thing is, like you say, if there's, as long as it's constantly changing, and then no one knows, because if they identify saying, oh, okay, that's a communication transaction, and then they're going to watch that and say, okay, they received a transaction now. So, but you know, if you have a constant changing variable, and then I think it's possible. Definitely.
That, then I think like even, you know, simple messages would work, or if you could take like video files or target sets, right, and zip them up and then send them over the blockchain in a, you know, a hashed format. And then the receiver there, I think you need software on both sides to be able to decode that and then make it useful. But you could kind of send that into a central brain that's picking up all the information, and then it could push out, kind of like where you have hardware states that are hashed. It could, you know, adjust its database and then push out the updated state of itself. And then the devices, when they receive it, can, you know,
translate
change.
it.
Translated
to human. So basically, you're using the blockchain as a one and zeros, or many numbers, because you can use it for many numbers, and then your apps on either side are watching it from below, and they're translating it to human readable information. But like you said, I mean, you can't encrypt data. I mean, you can't encrypt that a transaction's received something. But I mean, the thing is, an address could receive a 0.001 or 0.123, and those could mean completely different things. So you could send very
There's some
amounts of
ways to
file.
use the network as a signaling mechanism
Yeah,
in some
basically.
capacity, right? And I guess the benefits would be reliability of communication over something
Yes.
else. Right?
Because it's internet, right? So otherwise you're dealing with all sorts of radios and waveforms and blah, blah, blah. And those are maybe reliable, in some cases not reliable in the others. But when you have like satellite internet, that's probably your most omnipresent, information.
Yeah. And waveforms, radio and satellite can be, well, I've forgotten the word now, can be intercepted. And
I
if they
think anything
can,
can be intercepted, but it's just a matter of ensuring reliability of communication.
yeah, but if you're constantly using, sorry, hold on, go on.
No, I was just saying, like, yeah, that I guess the message could be intercepted, but it wouldn't. I don't think it would be very intelligible, especially if you had encryption on both ends, keys. Then whether that be private keys on the network or an additional layer, But it just seems like I'd seen Craig talk about how you can make a bunch of addresses off one, and I was like, well, that seems to be useful because then you would just hide, because you would send a message and then the next one would come from a different address and the next one from another address, and it's really just information flow on the internet. And then by listening to the internet, you don't provide any sort of positional data. Obviously, like, transmitting is different, but yeah, those are the type of applications that I am interested in, and I also think like could bring enterprise use case. But I just don't know, because I'm not a software person, like how far we are from those. I do like contract work and requirements and working with the guys, but it's not overly technical. I do have an engineering degree, but I haven't used that stuff in a while, so I can't really ascertain from following the Slack chat like how far we are from those type of capabilities being potentially fielded. Because there was about 3 years ago a request from, I think it was the Navy, for a blockchain-based communication system, and I forget which one they went with, maybe ETH. But like, I think they don't know what they don't know, which is that they're going to run into transaction cost issues and throughput, right? So like, yeah, maybe it works for a small team, but when you need to network like thousands, tens of thousands of devices, then you can't be paying or waiting on the network to pass your transactions up. So BSV seems like the best by far.
I was just imagining if it was on BTC and a message gets stuck in a mempool. I would be not good. But you can actually have it where you do the zero conf version. So the message you're watching for this, the message doesn't even need to go through the mempool and be in a block. But you can wait for a transaction to be in the mempool and use the zero conf method, and then your app on the other side will go, okay, I can see that transaction's there waiting, and it will translate the message. That would work.
It's an interesting idea, and I think we could certainly take it places in terms of developing it into particular proofs of concept and whatnot. Mapping out like what would be required to make that happen would be would be interesting. And then of course some of those people have requirements that are publicly stated. Some of them would certainly want to have some discretion in terms of the capabilities that get developed. And there are certain capabilities out there that do exist that aren't widely understood. I would say with time and with the right people involved in the right conversations and whatnot, we can get some of those things thought about and implemented.
Pretty good contacts inside that space. So I think that probably that type of ideas, they build like these crazy network designs, right? They're like, this is how it's insane. And I don't think they've considered potentially this. So if anyone were to find interest in that type of topic and want to talk about it further, I'm on the Slack group under Hodor as well.
Nice.
Be happy to get on a call sometime, just kind of shoot some ideas around, see what might be possible.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Sorry
Why
to
don't we
side-
bring up why don't we bring up
Very
Bailey?
interesting.
I think in the studio. Yeah, there we go. Cool.
Hey Bailey. Oh, we got you right in the middle of a bite. Sorry about
Sorry about that. I didn't realize it.
Hi
Wasn't
guys.
looking.
How's it going? Sorry. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. I shall
I
be
was
right
wondering
back. Please continue the conversation.
I was wondering if you guys could comment on the React implementation that WAGs just made. Is that of interest to Project Babbage, to the Metanet, or is that a whole new universe?
I thought it looked very interesting, and I'm curious about its costs, and it also creates a lovely foundation where developers could build something further for end users. What I thought about it though was that it's obviously it's not quite ready for like an end user just to go, I'm going to throw up a video and then start charging. But he's built what seems to be the foundation for other devs to build on that foundation and build something for easier use case for end users. But yeah, it looks really good. The frame rate was really, really nice. I was impressed.
How can you compare or contrast it to the Metanet? What is it? I'm not very technical, but I'm just I'd like to know whether what WAGs has done can complement the Metanet Project Babbage's thing, or whether it's something distinct.
Has anybody here gone and actually looked at that in detail?
I have not taken the time to look into it in depth. It seemed a cool concept. Basically, where you put your whole React site on chain, I believe, with a simple CLI command.
We've certainly talked about doing something similar.
Yeah.
So it might align well. I'd like to see how the architecture works. And
some of the architecture, I think, in its current state would not be compatible because it uses like the current implementation of the Yours wallet, which I believe is going to be updated to be BRC 100 compliant. So maybe when that's done, then this package or the solution can be updated as well, and then it would work.
Yeah, it actually uses Ordinal's OneSat as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
I do think there's a OneSat overlay being developed.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's BSV 21 anyways, I think some of the other BSV 20 stuff maybe isn't the best, but like the newer ones, they've actually gotten some good things going, and you know, it might be more compatible than we might expect. Anyhow, yeah, no, it's a we'll have to look more into it. These are all like the thing that Hodor was talking about, and then this as well. These are things that we can think about making a presentation about, or inviting somebody from from the community to talk about in future meetups and things. Like it can be nice to hear from people and and just brainstorm ideas and maybe we can get to a proof of concept or a demo of something, kind of like we did with the Dropbox, and and then show it on one of these.
Yeah.
Are you going to do this again next week?
Every the first and third Friday of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah. Great.
And so the idea is, we got a couple weeks, and maybe in the next couple weeks, somebody will build proof of concept for, secure communication system using blockchain, or maybe somebody will build, we'll have a demo of React on chain or something. We can invite people up to speak and to do different things, and
I did have that WAGs thing marked, but yeah, it's not much time left, so like we can bookmark it for future discussion.
Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to have you up.
Yeah, let's think. So, we talked about drop blocks, and are there questions from the chat or the community in any way that we want to?
I'm going to bring up the recent BSVA 100 sats per kilobyte thing quickly.
Okay.
Just as a general topic, so I dog in my face. So feel free to interrupt as well. As others may have seen in the space, there's been a recent post by the BSVA, by Terranode Group, which is saying put your minimum mining transaction fee to 100 sats per kilobyte. People may have been used to us saying for the last couple of years, it's going to be like 1 sat per kilobyte. I want to rehash that this 100 sats per kilobyte isn't like it's never going to go lower again. It's, as I believe, it's a temporary thing, because we need to get transaction volume. And in the future, there's plenty of wiggle room for it to be pushed back down again. And also 100 sats per kilobyte really isn't that much. And also for people who do have business plans, which no one knows about, which, you were looking at pushing 100 million transactions on chain or millions of transactions, and your whole thing is based on 1 kilobyte, 1 sat per kilobyte. That is still possible. All you need to do is approach a miner like Gorilla Pool or Terranode and say, look, I'm going to be pushing this many transactions on chain. This is my expected TPS. Let's work out a deal. And they will work out a deal with you. And that is, I've had that from Gorilla Pool, and Terranode has often said similar things. So, there is wiggle room with that 100 sats area. So for people who were concerned about that or thinking it's a road to going up and such, it's a temporary thing with wiggle room. So if anyone has any questions or comments on that one?
I'll just say we're going to always advocate for the lowest fees we can for our users on Babbage.
Agreed.
And if it gets too high, we'll probably start a pool. But probably it won't get too high because of that.
I mean, I can't see it getting too high, and word from Gorilla Pool is that even at this amount, if people are putting in lower transaction fees, they are still going to mine it.
I'll put them at 99 just to be like...
just to test. Good idea.
Yeah. And then 98, 97. That'd be fun. Yeah. No. Yeah, if people want to mine, if people want their stuff in the blockchain, they should reach out privately. But like, you should just, there should be policy that's available. People should get a fee policy. I will say, the TypeScript SDK of the BSV Association has been updated so as to include a live fee tracking capability, and the transaction fee by default will be based on a live fee quote that is obtained from, I believe, Gorilla Pool. It might be Tal or Gorilla Pool. And so people should not hard code their fees. They should have a live fee endpoint that they use from the miners and actually make their transaction fees based on that. And that will certainly help with making sure that your transaction gets included and allowing the users to pick, whether they will accept it or not. Because if the miners make the fees too high, then, well, you'll kill volume. And we're just starting to get the very foundation for good volume. So timing of it is a little bit, I don't know. It'd be nice to get some volume and then see about this. Although I understand that it would be politically even more difficult to raise it by 100x in the future. So it probably won't go up by 100x, but maybe it'll go up a little bit. And I do think there needs to be some economic component to this in terms of like, well, let's make sure that the miners are able to operate profitably.
if it increases more, I will start to have a bit of an issue with it because this one's been like 100 times, as you said. Hi, Archie, and there's something I read a while back is if you're going to increase fees, do it early, do it big, and then try not to do it again and just start decreasing it from that point.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hello, Archie. Good to have you up here.
Yeah,
Welcome.
good to see you.
Should I start asking questions?
Yeah, no,
Go for it.
Let's hear you.
I guess it will tie into several things. I think, Braden, when we were in Medford, I was kind of explaining the random idea to you about how like a system should work. And then you were like, yeah, that's the UHRP, the hash resolution protocol. And I hadn't even looked into it. Now that I finally started the Metanet Academy and read it, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Okay.
And you guys are talking about it here now too. A couple questions and with the fees. But I don't know if you answered this already. If you can put something on chain, what about using the UHRP to, let's say John wants to create, or the Calhoun brothers create like a social media app, and they want to use UHRP and they don't want to put everything on chain. So they store all the posts, but they hash it. But we still want competitive platforms. So we want Tree Chat, Twitch if it existed, or everyone to be able to access it and be able to pay them. Have you guys thought about how something like that would work? Say, because I can post it to all the overlays, but I want to require a payment to watch a video or something, and I want every 3-4 different platforms to be able to access it and make payments to the UHRP token itself. Seems possible, but you get
payment for
pretty
download.
complex.
Is that kind of what you're saying? Like
Say it again.
Like payment for download of the content or accessing the content. Is that kind of what you're?
Yes.
That's
or
possible.
ownership of it or access it. Because to me that seems like how it's because it does everything need to be on chain. And then this is my next question, because it can still be if it's hashed.
Yeah.
Then you're not taking. Do we need to take up that much space on the blockchain? It's still distributed this way, as if it's just in a token that anybody can build a platform to access, or it's publicly accessible. And then this goes to the next thing with the fees. Now that the fees go up now that the fees are going up on November 15th, will it cost more? Say John has a simple app and he wants to, put the post in the, in the token, but now that makes the data so big, it becomes expensive. Should he just hash the data? That's now the fee's lower, but he can store it, but it's still publicly accessible, and you can validate it on chain and still do all the things with it.
Yeah, maybe I could take a crack at trying to answer this, but I would say the game, then becomes if someone wanted to run an overlay for this app, they wanted to, spend the money to run the infrastructure to accept payments and allow people to read the data from the overlay. The game becomes which overlays are you going to submit the transaction to, right? Will the users go to my UI, my website, and submit the transactions there? Or will they go to the other person's site and submit the transactions there? So that's where the competition really heats up. And I think that's the way forward, because that's like, I think someone used the term like hyper competition before. And like if someone builds something cool, I could, copy them very fast, or, stuff like that for this kind of app. And, you could, maybe there's other overlays you want to use to incorporate in your app. I think, these Lego blocks that we see here today, really allow for some cool stuff in the competition like that. So I think that's the way forward.
Yeah. Because the way that overlays currently work, you're going to broadcast it to the overlays, and then they're going to gasp it or sync across multiple nodes. So you don't necessarily pick which one you want to because you want that data resiliency, but you're going to make the fee, right, to maybe the developer on the when you're using the app, like inside the UI. So that's where you could charge for it, make money that way.
In terms of the download side fees, this brings in a couple things. Firstly, within a platform like Dropbox, the file being uploaded and then made available for download could be an interesting thing. Where someone uploads a file, it's encrypted, but in order to download it, you have to pay and buy the encrypted the key from the user or from their agent, from an overlay, whatever that's been authorized by the user, by the seller of the file, and then suddenly it's like a marketplace
right.
for content. So like the way to to get the resiliency benefits of UHRP and overlays, and then to the maximum extent possible, the decentralization benefits, even though you're paying some central person to receive a file, would be to encrypt the data so that it can't change, and so that you can prove everybody's buying the same file, and then have the key distributed to like say 4 authorized people who are authorized to sell it on your behalf when you're not online or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. But even if it's not one person, like you said before, I want the upload platform and the download platform can be the same. But if I'm a content creator and I just want to put it out there, I want what you said before. I want it to a platform that already exists that will make when the UHRP goes and it sends it out to 5 different servers that store it. And then the same thing on the other side, if somebody wants to consume that platform will go search all of those. We'll search the overlays that will say, hey, it's stored on these 5 different independent platforms.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I guess could that be more efficient? Or would that be a better use than putting it on a blockchain? I would definitely think so. For things, the bigger the file it gets, the better just to put the hash.
Yeah, like the fees are interesting. Like I know on Dropbox it lets us pick between op return and UHRP, and I think op return option is about to get 100x more expensive than it currently is, where the UHRP one is going to stay about the same, maybe in terms of what you actually end up paying. Like to upload
because it's just a
1
hash
megabyte file.
Yeah, so that's small. So that might be better economics anyway. And then one other thing, Hodor, he was on here. He said to reach out to him in the Slack. I already looked for you. I don't know if he's still on here, but I couldn't find him. But I was talking to some people just yesterday, asking the exact same questions you were asking on here. So I'm on the Slack. If you can find me, I'd like to reach out to you.
I will PM you and send you his username.
If you want to join the BSV chat, you can go to join.bsv.chat. I know the actually, let's think. Wait. Actually, he's saying. So Joel, you have Metanet ICU as well.
I found him. He's on the ICU one, but not on the Babbage Slack.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so.
Okay, I'm on there too. I'll find him on there. I was looking for him on the Babbage one.
Yeah, he's Hodor on the Metanet one.
No, it's interesting to think of the use cases that can be built on top of this stuff, and all the things that are possible. I think it's cool to see so many good people here talking about this stuff and building stuff.
I'm going to put out there as well, which the thing that Hodor was talking about. I think it's a really interesting concept. It's something I've thought about in the past, and I think it's something which can be built on Babbage or outside of it. It depends how depends how military contractors sometimes want their own thing, so it depends what they want. But I as a public, if it wasn't the military contractors, thing, I think it's still something which could be built on Babbage, and you can have like secure communications with like
People can
people
build it.
using, yeah, the same apps.
I just wonder where the blockchain comes in, because I've been going through it and trying to get the authentication to work. I've been going through the BRC 42 and 43 with the key derivation, and the way, because I was kind of, this sounds like the same stuff he did is what I did in the military too, and set up comms and encryption for them. And the way 42 does it with the key derivation and the Diffie-Hellman exchanges, and you can do so many with the elliptic key cryptography, they're already doing that pretty much the same way. And now that I've been actually digging into what you guys did with the whole handshake, with the authentication process, it looks really good to me. So that's a lot of work, and good job. But that doesn't, for the authentication, doesn't even need the blockchain. You just need to send the public one, sign it with the private, and the invoice numbers or the random numbers. So that's just, cryptography authentication, and then the Diffie-Hellman exchange, so you can share a secret and you can then encrypt. But all of that's done off of the blockchain. So unless you want to hash something on the blockchain to validate the communications or something, might be a good use case.
Well, you want to use the blockchain just as like the trigger for communication. So if it's gone to on your side of the app, say if you're in the field, you've got a string of addresses, or you've got a paymail, if X paymail receives, but from a specific, it's got to be from a specific, because otherwise anyone could flood those addresses. And if your address or something linked to that paymail, because I don't know how it would work with, it wouldn't have to be paymail, it could be a username. As Ty has rightly said, you can have any kind of username and underneath just have it generating addresses.
The tricky thing is just, we need to do it without indexers, right? We can't have a global index of all the funds that come to a particular address. So that data must be sent peer-to-peer from the sender of the transaction to the recipient. And if we can already reliably communicate peer-to-peer, which is a requirement for blockchain to scale, then why would we put all of our secret comms on the blockchain? And that's the thing. But I do think that even without using the blockchain directly, some of the lower level cryptographic primitives in BRC42 and particular ways that you can use invoice numbers, and I won't go into too much detail, but it can enable some capabilities that maybe already exist in certain places, but it could potentially do some interesting things cryptographically. The blockchain as a communications mechanism is not very solid, because we don't want to go peer to miner to peer. We want to go peer to peer directly, and we can send data peer to peer off chain, and sometimes communications don't have to be on chain, but because we're talking about keys and signatures and encryption and key derivation and all these primitives which are kind of already being used in blockchain systems. Not that encryption is required to use the blockchain at all, but the key derivation and digital signature primitives and algorithms are there. It does invite a lot of discussion around those use cases that we could consider and maybe implement. And you could almost one thing that comes to mind is, and I don't know if politically this would work, and this is more of a political solution than it is a technical solution, but there's a lot of desire for accountability when it comes to lawful intercept, for example. Like, what if there was actually a record and things were actually accountable within lawful intercept programs? I don't know whether that's even a feasible, thing to implement technically, or whether there's enough political desire to pressure the right people into actually registering the warrant or the justification for particular lawful intercept requests on the blockchain. But then you could use some of the transparency aspects of it to not prove it at the time, of course, because it's highly classified or whatever at the time, like a lawful intercept happens. But maybe you could prove later that, we had good justification when we originally did go and do this, and it's only revealed after the fact.
If you use the blockchain as a signaling device, and then you could do that as long as you've got the end apps. The end apps are what translate, XYZ address received a transaction of a specific value, and that means proceed. And then if afterwards you were told, oh, why did you proceed? And you could say, I was ordered to proceed by HQ. And then you could prove that, here's the app. With the app, you can, highly classified app, you could translate, you could see that transaction was sent. I mean, and they would all be able to see, oh, yes, that transaction was sent at that date and time. You were told to proceed. Okay, that's out of, not your fault.
Yeah. So that's like the data integrity part of the communication.
Yeah. But also one of the key things I think that Hodor was aiming at was that if you're generating a constant new address, as an intelligent agent who you're trying to find the information of your enemy, you need something to target. And radio waves and satellites and stuff, that's all things which people can target. But if the target is a new address which doesn't exist, you don't know what to intercept. You don't know what you're looking for because it doesn't exist yet. And then by the time they had the communication, it's too late.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually quite a novel idea to send instructions.
Mm-hmm. There's some interesting ideas there.
Yeah, I think the delivery mechanism is important, but I think sending those instructions, could be a way to, link things that way.
We just had Mort drop off. So bye, Mort. Thank you for joining us. And it kind of sucks. I had a question, but I was kind of waiting for timing. And I don't know, maybe he addressed it. But has anybody here used Dropbox?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know if there are like notifications or webhooks for like upcoming expirations?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So no.
I think that that type of thing could be useful.
So he should use a message box client to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it does need something like that because otherwise,
Yeah. 'Cause otherwise, how am I going to know when my files expire for storage? Oh no.
Actually, that's be interesting if it was actually on, because he'd have to have a server. So if it was a UHR, like the actual server that did the hosting commitment on chain, wouldn't that be the one that would be responsible for?
Yeah, the UHRP storage provider would message you via message box and say, hey, that file you uploaded is about to expire.
So it doesn't matter then where you upload it. Across all your apps, you could receive a notification that your file needs to be renewed.
And that UHRP storage provider is the one who could provide you a little user interface that says, you can renew it at this layer. And then it should update everywhere.
Yeah, and then I guess that was Casey's question too. I see in the private chat, but her other question was whether you could upload multiple files at once, and I think he did address batching, but kind of indirectly.
Looks like folder upload is supported.
Does it? Batching?
I think you can upload folders.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, but it has to be a folder. I thought he said something about uploading files one at a time, but that may have been a specific use case.
I think there was just files.
I took the time to to join. I think he's got a busy work schedule and things like that. So I mean, the goal of this type of meetup is to give people a platform for their app, and I think that it's really cool to to showcase what people have been working on, and encourage everybody to go check it out, obviously, and give feedback for Mort. And I think we'll be doing more of this type of thing where we feature apps and developers who would benefit from, just, well, let's get some of these ideas out here, and let's talk about things and demonstrate them. It's a really compelling use case, and it's very simple, but it's compelling, and that's what I think we should do, is lower the bar for those compelling use cases to be developed. So yeah, I think it's the beginning of a lot of new things that are going to be added and integrated. And then of course we have discussion around some of these other things with secure communications and other types of things. So maybe we can make that the focus of one of the future events. We can plan a little spotlight on someone has to go build a proof of concept, right? And then after we have a proof of concept, we can actually demo that proof of concept during one of these meetings and during one of the Metanet meetups. And people can ask questions, and that's kind of how I envision this going. Is whoever builds a proof of concept, you'll get a platform, you'll get the opportunity to answer questions and get some feedback. And I think as the following for this group grows, as we get more people tuning in to the live streams and everything every 2 weeks, and try to do it as regularly as we possibly can, then certainly that would help to get you some users and some initial testers, and that's what we need to refine these ideas.
Casey, did you want to bring up microblog?
Yeah.
I just thought it was really interesting. I know Degan 3 days ago said, "This is music to my ears." CloudSay at CloudSay username on X said, "Took me just 2 days to learn and build my first BRC 100 app. Microblog.bitspv.com is now live on the app catalog. For web developers, Bitcoin development used to be extremely hard, and this wasn't possible before. Total game changer. I feel like tons of apps are coming." So just wanted to see if you guys could elaborate on that a little bit for people that are interested in getting started building apps. Apparently it's been made quite a bit easier recently, so I wasn't sure if you wanted to give any more details on that.
Yeah,
I think I put it up here.
I can make a couple comments on it. I know he used the global KB store package or code for that, which you can import in your code from the TypeScript SDK, and that just makes it pretty easy to put data on chain in an overlay where people can create their apps, which are windows into that data. So that's what he did here, and it even supports liking, I think, and I don't think there's replies yet, but you can make posts on there. So it's basically kind of just like a little social blog. And if you want to build something that's competing with this, you should check out the Global KB Store, because it makes it pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'll try doing a like here. Let's see. Be the first like on this post. Is it going to increment? Aha! There it is. All right. Very cool.
Nice.
So are there micropayments attached to those engagements, or?
Yep.
We should have the developer.
Every action is a
I don't want to put somebody on the spot, but
you can hit View TX if you click on the post there.
Oh,
if you want
good.
to see it.
That's exciting.
They might have tried to join earlier, but I realized we only have 10 spots. We only have 10 seats in this room. So in order to get more people in here, we gotta kick people out. we get 10. So
there's nobody waiting though, right?
No, nobody's waiting right now. But if that person can come in, talk about microblog, that would be pretty cool if you're watching right now. Think about it.
I might have to leave soon anyway, but before that, I really want to point out the metanetapps.com page. So even if you don't have the BSV desktop yet, you can go there and see all the apps which are currently available for the BSV desktop. So you can have a look at them and get an idea and see what people are building. And you can have, I remember looking at this a while back and it was a lot smaller. And I bet you like by summer next year, this will be a lot bigger. So yeah, have a peek at that, and see what you like and see what's missing and see what you want to build.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the future, and thank you very much, Joel, for offering to host this and help us out here with making this reality. Thanks also to Casey for being here and helping out, and thanks obviously to Mort for taking the time to present and to put this idea out there, and thanks to everybody on the Babbage team for being here, and of course to everybody who came and asked questions and made this an engaging discussion. We hope to continue promoting people building apps and showing what that's like. And I wonder. I think we'll talk a little bit more about the next one and see what we want to present next time. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on X at Project Babbage. Go to metanetmeetup.com. You can watch live on YouTube or X. You can also join the studio. So that way you can be a part of asking some questions and whatnot.
To add in, if you between now and the next 2 weeks, if you would like us to discuss anything specific, tell us, because we discuss internally what we are going to talk about and test out. But if you as a listener, really like something, even if it's something you haven't built, but you like the look of it or you've tried it, let us know. And if you're a developer, as Ty's been saying, let us know as well, and we'd like to have you on and showing off your product and getting other people using it.
Yep, there's a form on metanetmeetup.com that you can fill out, and we'll receive that and see if maybe we have you on the next one.
Yeah, more devs, more devs ought to put themselves out there. It's really tough. I get it.
And also, I'd love to see more end users telling devs what they want.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention here is there's still a plan to curate and gather some VCs that can be presented to by some of these entrepreneurs and developers that are building stuff, so we can help them get some funding in the future. Or
I think that type of thing would be valuable, and we can certainly think about putting together an event. If any VCs are interested, please reach out. If you'd like to be part of like a pitch day or something like that for VSV projects, I'm sure we could combine that even with some of the energy from one of these hackathons or something, and make it to a little bit of continued funding for projects subject to certain milestones, where it's like, you win the hackathon, you get a few grand, but if you go get 1,000 users after you win the hackathon, that's a whole other thing entirely. So that's really cool, and like we should partner with some people to reward developers continuing to run with their ideas and continuing to make them reality and build out a team and demonstrate revenue and drive that type of growth, because that's what I think we need most.
I'm sure that interested VCs would get first grabs at a lot of projects and first look at a lot of projects in the background, rather than someone who's just coming in off the back end, seeing things. If you are an interested VC, talk to Ty, reach out to the Babbage team, and you can be in the door rather than behind the door waiting. You can be up front.
Actually, I would like to correct myself. I said that was the most important thing. But honestly, I think the most important thing is actually to do as Kurt says and be good to each other, and also to reward those who are learning and growing and exploring. And if we do that, then I think we'll have a good ecosystem. That we gotta make sure we keep good people here and make a good environment where they can contribute positively, whatever their role is, whether they're creating content, building an app, learning how to code with this tech, or pitching a new business that uses this stuff. Those are the people that are going to drive the ecosystem forward. And so excited for the next one, guys. This has been great.
Yeah, has.
See you later.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
I saw one message in the chat that was saying something about, just to, touch on this. I would agree that this, fee strategy as the fees go up would encourage people a little bit to do things, to mine a little bit more on our network. And we do need more miners. So, there's two sides to mining. If you got hash power and you want to put it on BSV, but you don't really know about Terranode or processing or infrastructure or overlays or SPV or all this stuff that you feel like you might need to know, just I don't know, reach out and we'll help you, get things going in the right direction. Could be interesting, anyways.
The gorillas are always welcoming more monkeys. I have it on good authority.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much for being part of this, and I think we'll end it here. So stay tuned for the next one, everybody. Head over to metanetmeetup.com so you can join live, submit your proposal for what you'd like to talk about, or just follow along, with what's going on. So thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Okay.